Welcome, curious minds. Ever wonder about destiny? You know, that ancient idea, how much is written and how much do we, well, choose, especially with our relationships, our connections. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really classic story, the story of Krishna and Sudama. The source material is just incredibly rich. Our mission really is to see what insights we can pull out about fate, the power of real friendship, and maybe how our own actions, even small ones, shape things.
Oh.
Okay, let's unpack this. So we start in Mathura, ancient city, and the ruler is King Kansa.
Right. And Kansa, well, he wasn't exactly known for being kind, a tyrant, really.
Yeah, he even kicked his own father, King Ugrasen, off the throne. Everyone was terrified of him,
Yeah.
except maybe his sister, Devaki. He seemed to actually care about her.
He did, which is quite the contrast. But that affection gets tested big time. At Devaki's wedding to Vasudeva, a Yadava chief, it's this grand affair. Kansa's even driving their chariot home.
And then, bam, this voice out of nowhere from the sky.
Exactly, a booming voice with a terrible prophecy for Kansa.
And it specifically says,
It says, "Cruel Kansa, your beloved sister, Devaki, her 8th son, he will be the cause of your death." Just imagine hearing that on your sister's wedding day, no less.
yeah, I mean, his reaction must have been pure panic.
Oh, immediate and horrifying. He literally draws his sword to kill Devaki right there to stop the prophecy before it can even start.
But Vasudeva steps in, her new husband.
Right, bravely pleads with Kansa, makes this desperate promise, "We'll give you every child, every single one, just to save her life."
And Kansa, he actually agrees, but then locks them up.
He does. He agrees, but imprisons them both to make sure Vasudeva keeps his word.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it? His fear makes him create the very situation.
The situation for the prophecy to happen.
Exactly. So the first child is born. Vasudeva, true to his word, hands the baby over. And Kansa, he almost hesitates.
Really, a moment of doubt.
Maybe sentimentality. He thinks, well, it's only the 8th son I need to worry about. Almost lets the baby live.
But then someone shows up, Narad.
Yes. Naraji, the sage. He comes in and, well, he cleverly plays on Kansa's fear, uses this analogy of a lotus flower.
The lotus flower, how does that work?
He gives Vasudeva very specific instructions. Take the baby boy, he says, go to Gokul, swap him with Nanda's newborn daughter.
A swap? Okay. But how does he get out? They're still prisoners, right?
Ah, well, this is where it gets miraculous. Midnight, the baby's born. And suddenly, clink, Vasudeva's chains just fall off.
No way.
Prison doors swing open, all by themselves. And all the guards, out cold, deep, deep sleep.
Incredible. So he just walks out.
Puts the baby in a basket, places it on his head, and walks out into the storm. And as he goes, the giant serpent Sheshnag appears, spreads his hood over the basket like an umbrella, protecting the baby from the rain.
Amazing. And the river. Didn't he have to cross the Yamuna?
He did.
Yeah.
And the river just parts, creates a dry path right through the middle for him. It's like, everything is helping him.
So he makes it to Gokul.
Finds Nanda's house. Yashoda, Nanda's wife, has just had a baby girl. He quietly makes the swap, Krishna for the girl.
And gets back to the prison.
Gets back just as quietly. The doors close, the chains presumably reappear, and then the baby girl starts crying, waking the guards.
So the guards tell Kansa the 8th child is born.
Exactly. Kansa rushes in, probably thinking, finally I can end this. Sees it's a girl. He actually hesitates again, briefly. Says something like, "Oh, what harm can a girl do to me?"
But the fear wins out again.
Fear wins. He grabs the baby girl anyway. But as he does, she slips out of his grasp, floats up into the air, and transforms into Goddess Durga.
Whoa. Right in front of him.
Right in front of him. And she speaks, gives him this final, chilling warning.
What did she say?
Something like, "Hey, wicked Kansa, think killing a baby makes you brave. The one who will kill you, he's safe. He's in Gokul, and he will find you." Then she vanishes.
Leaving Kansa completely terrified, realizing he failed.
Utterly failed. His fate is sealed, and the one destined to fulfill it is safe. What's fascinating here is, well, it's his tension, isn't it? Between this supposedly fixed destiny and Kansa's frantic, violent efforts to change it.
Right, he tries so hard, but everything he does seems to just push the prophecy forward.
Exactly. It's like the divine plan just unfolds, subtly using his own actions against him. He becomes a pawn in the game he's desperately trying to win.
Does that mean he wasn't responsible, though, if it was all preordained?
Oh, I think the story suggests he's absolutely responsible for his choices, for his cruelty. The preordained part is maybe the outcome, but his actions were his own. It just highlights maybe the futility of fighting fate with fear and violence. His free will existed, but it led him down the path destiny had laid out anyway. It's complex.
Okay, so Krishna is safe in Gokul. Let's fast forward a bit. Past his childhood adventures.
Mm-hmm.
He eventually goes to study, right? At an ashram.
Yes. Sage Santapani's ashram, a place of learning, discipline, and it's there he forms this incredibly strong bond, a deep friendship with another student, Sudama.
Krishna and Sudama, the famous friendship. But there's a backstory to Sudama's life, isn't there? Something involving chickpeas.
Yes, the chickpeas. It's crucial, actually. Near the ashram, there was this very, very poor woman, often starving. One day, after like 5 days with no food, she gets some chickpeas as alms, finally something to eat.
Okay.
But that night, thieves break in, they see her little bag, think it's gold or jewels, and steal it.
They stole her chickpeas.
They did. She cries out, they panic, run, and end up hiding the chickpeas somewhere in the ashram grounds before fleeing. And the woman, in her despair, she utters this curse.
A curse on the chickpeas.
Yes, something like, "What good will stealing from a starving woman do you? Whoever eats these chickpeas, I curse them.
Yeah.
They will become destitute, poor."
Wow. Heavy stuff. And somehow these cursed chickpeas end up with Sudama.
The very next day, the guru's wife finds the bag, doesn't know about the curse, obviously. Krishna and Sudama are going to the forest for firewood, so she gives the bag to Sudama, tells him, "Share these with Krishna if you get hungry."
Oh no, but Sudama,
Yeah.
he knew.
The story says Sudama was wise. He somehow understood these weren't ordinary chickpeas. He knew about the curse. So he takes the bag, but he hides it, doesn't mention it to Krishna.
Okay, so they're in the forest. What happens?
A storm hits while they're heading back. They take shelter. Krishna gets hungry and asks Sudama, "Got anything to eat?"
And Sudama has the cursed chickpeas. Dilemma.
Huge dilemma. He's hungry too. But he knows if Krishna eats them, his friend, this divine being, will face poverty because of the curse.
So what does he do?
He makes a choice, a really selfless one. He decides to eat all the chickpeas himself, to take the curse onto himself to protect Krishna.
All of them, while Krishna's right there.
Yes. Krishna hears him chewing, asks, "Are you eating something?" It's Sudama. Well, he lies. He says, no, my teeth are just chattering because I'm cold.
Wow. He knowingly accepts poverty for his friend.
Correct.
That's incredible sacrifice.
It really is. Here's where it gets really interesting. This act, this lie, born out of pure love and sacrifice, it fundamentally shapes Sudama's entire future. It sets him on this path of hardship, but it also, well, it plants a seed for something else later on.
So the implication is that his poverty wasn't just random chance. It was a direct consequence of this selfless act.
That seems to be the strong implication, yes. He took on the curse. The focus isn't on the lie itself, but the immense selflessness behind it. He absorbed the negative karma, so to speak, for Krishna.
Which makes his later life even more poignant. So after the ashram, their lives go in totally different directions.
Completely different. Krishna, as we know, goes on to become this incredibly wealthy and powerful king of Dwarka. Palaces, riches, everything.
In Sudama.
Sudama lives in abject poverty, truly dire circumstances. He and his family often have nothing to eat for days, a stark, stark contrast.
But he doesn't immediately go to Krishna for help, even though they were such close friends.
No, he doesn't. It's actually his wife who finally persuades him. She sees the children suffering, starving, and says, go to your friend, go to Lord Krishna. Surely he'll help.
It takes his wife searching.
Okay.
But he feels awkward about going.
Very, especially about going empty-handed to visit a king. So his wife, bless her, goes to the neighbors, borrows just a tiny amount of rice, just a handful, really, wraps it in a small cloth bundle for him to take as an offering.
A bundle of borrowed rice for the king of Dwarka. That's humbling.
Incredibly humbling. And Sudama sets off, barefoot, walking all the way to Dwarka. The journey itself is arduous, thorns pricking his feet. You can just feel his poverty, his humility.
He finally gets there, to this huge opulent palace. What happens at the gate?
He tells the gatekeepers, "I'm Sudama, Lord Krishna's childhood friend. Can I see him?"
And
They laugh at him, openly mock him. Look at this poor Brahmin. He knows the king. They basically tell him to get lost. Sudama feels completely humiliated, crushed. He actually turns around to leave.
Oh, man. Not coming all that way.
But just then, one of the gatekeepers happens to mention it inside, maybe casually. Some poor man named Sudama was here, claiming to be your friend.
And Krishna hears the name.
Here's Sudama. And his reaction is instantaneous. He doesn't walk. He doesn't send for him. He runs. barefoot, all the way from his throne room, through the palace, right to the main gate.
Wow. Leaving everyone stunned, I bet.
Totally stunned. The guards, the courtiers, everyone. He finds Sudama, throws his arms around him. Just pure, unadulterated joy and love, no thought for status or appearances.
That's powerful. What happens next?
The reunion is incredibly emotional. Krishna leads Sudama inside right to the throne room. He actually seats Sudama on his own throne.
Seats the poor Brahmin on the king's throne.
Yes. And then the most amazing part, he gets water and he washes Sudama's feet himself.
Yeah.
With his own tears streaming down, mixing with the water, wipes them dry with his own royal garments.
Washing his feet with tears. That's unbelievable display of humility and love.
It truly is. The king serving the pauper, but seeing only his dearest friend. Then, after all this, Krishna asks playfully, "So, Sudama, what gift did my sister-in-law send for me?"
Ah, the rice. Sudama must have felt so embarrassed.
Terribly shy, he tries to hide the little bundle, ashamed of how small and poor it is.
But Krishna sees it.
Oh, Krishna gently takes it from him, opens it up, and starts eating the plain, borrowed rice with genuine delight, exclaiming, "Wow! This is delicious. I've never tasted anything so good."
Making Sudama feel valued, even with his humble gift.
Exactly. Krishna treats Sudama like royalty for the next few days. Feasts, comforts, respect. But he doesn't actually hand over any gold or jewels.
So Sudama eventually has to leave.
Yes, after a few days, Sudama feels he should head home. He's still worried about his family and maybe a little disappointed. He thinks, Krishna welcomed me so warmly, but he didn't actually give me anything to solve my problems.
So he leaves Dwarka pretty much as poor as he arrived.
He leaves, still in his ragged clothes, feeling a bit confused, wondering how he'll face his wife.
But
But then he gets back to where his village, his hut, should be. And he stops. Stares.
what does he see?
Where his miserable little hut used to stand. There's now a magnificent palace, gold jewels, servants, everything luxurious. He thinks he's lost his way. This can't be my home.
She doesn't recognize it.
Not at all. And then out of this palace steps his wife, but she's not in rags anymore. She's dressed in beautiful silks, adorned with jewelry, looking radiant.
And she explains what happened.
She runs to him, overjoyed, and says, "See, my lord, I told you, Lord Krishna, he's taken away all our sorrows. He saw our plight. He heard our unspoken prayers. He's lifted us out of poverty."
So Krishna did give him wealth, just not directly. He arranged it all while Sudama was traveling back.
Exactly. A divine, unseen blessing that transformed Sudama's reality without any overt transaction. And Sudama finally understands the depth of Krishna's love, his divine play. He's just overcome with gratitude and happiness.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what does this reunion really tell us?
Well, it's profound, isn't it? It speaks volumes about true giving and receiving. Krishna's gift wasn't transactional. It was transformational. It happened unseen, subtly. It suggests that maybe genuine connection and friendship operate on a different level than just material exchange.
Beyond just handing over cash, so to speak.
Right, and maybe that divine intervention, or maybe just the universe responding, it works in these mysterious ways. It rewards the purity of heart, the selflessness Sudama showed years ago with those chickpeas, and the enduring bond they shared far more than any direct request for aid. It's about the strength of that bond transcending poverty and kingship.
So what does this all mean? When we put the whole story together, Kansa's fate, Sudama's sacrifice, Krishna's intervention.
Well, the traditional moral, often stated right in the source material, is pretty direct. We all have to face the consequences of our actions, good or bad.
No escaping karma, essentially.
Pretty much. Even someone with a friend like Lord Krishna Sudama still had to live through the poverty that resulted from his choice, the curse he took on. The friendship didn't erase the consequence, though it did ultimately lead to immense blessing.
So if even divine friendship doesn't just wipe the slate clean, what hope do ordinary people have?
It underlines the idea that our actions matter, profoundly. We can't bypass cause and effect. That's why the story emphasizes we should strive to always do good deeds. Because those results, good or bad, will come back to us.
It's not just about avoiding bad consequences, but actively creating good ones through our choices.
Exactly. Kansa's actions, driven by fear, created his tragic end. Sudama's actions, driven by selfless love, led to hardship, but also ultimate redemption and blessing. It suggests our intention and the nature of our choices really shape the flavor of the consequences we face.
The story of Krishna and Sudama, it really is an incredibly powerful narrative, isn't it? Shining a light on fate, action, and connection. It's not just ancient history. It feels relevant.
Absolutely. These timeless stories keep offering perspective, don't they? They remind us that while big forces might be at play, call it destiny, call it karma, our choices, our integrity, our compassion, they really do sculpt our path through it all, often in ways we don't see immediately.
Which leads to a really interesting thought, doesn't it? If even divine power doesn't just erase the past, if consequences are unavoidable, how should that change the way we approach, well, everything, every choice we make, every person we interact with, every single day?
Right. If our actions ripple outwards with such certainty, maybe the focus shouldn't just be on the immediate outcome, but on the nature of the action itself.
Perhaps our most selfless acts, the ones that might even seem disadvantageous in the moment, like Sudama eating those chickpeas. Maybe those are the very actions quietly building a foundation for a future we can't yet imagine, something profound to reflect on. We invite you to consider the echoes of your own choices.